Simple, enchanting, and powerful, the One Ring may not look like much, but its terrible influence goes way beyond its appearance. Also known by other names such as the Master Ring, the Ruling Ring, the Ring of Power, Isildur's Bane, and Bilbo's Ring, the One Ring is the most central object in the Lord of the Rings and the most powerful object in Middle-earth. Today on Fantasy Archive, we will discover the origins of the One Ring, its powers, and how it affected all the characters who interacted with it. We will also talk about why Sauron saw Frodo, but couldn't sense Bilbo, who had it for many years. The Lord of the Rings tells the story of a ring, its bearer, its seeker, and its impact on the world. The One Ring initially appears as a simple piece of jewelry won through a riddle game in The Hobbit. In Lord of the Rings, it transforms into the most sought-after and most powerful object in Middle-earth. But to understand its power and how it shaped the world, we will have to go back in time to its creation and the intent of its maker. After the defeat of his lord Morgoth, Sauron becomes public enemy number 1 of Middle-earth. He eludes the Valar's attempts to capture him and lies low for a few centuries in Mordor. However, Sauron hatches a grand plan to assert his dominion over Middle-earth. Over this time, a group of elves called the Noldor Elves settled on Middle-earth and make a home for themselves in a place they called Eregion, near the west gate of Khazad-dûm, later Moria. Among its most notable settlers are Galadriel, Elrond, and Gil-galad. Eregion also boasted the greatest elven smiths in all of Middle-earth. Sauron gets crafty and emerges from his hideout. He takes on a beautiful and new form, naming himself Anatar, Lord of Gifts. Sauron quickly makes many friends in Eregion, but a few of the Noldor elves are cautious of him. Using his crafting prowess, Sauron taught the elven smiths new tricks to make extremely powerful rings. The rings, which came to be known as the Rings of Power or the Great Rings, fascinated the elves greatly. The magic woven into the creation of these rings was beyond even the understanding of the elven smiths. They made 19 great rings. Sauron is directly involved in crafting 16 of them, tainting them with his touch. Celebrimbor, the greatest elven smith, forges 3. Even though Sauron was not involved in the creating the 3 elven rings, he could still exploit the magic tricks involved in their creation. In order to achieve his plan of total control, he made an object of extraordinary power. In secret around the year 16,000 Second Age, deep in the land of Mordor, in the volcanic fire of Mount Doom, or Orodruin, Sauron forged the One Ring. As he made the One Ring, he weaved into it the most of his strength, will, and fey, the soul. The One Ring is simple in appearance. It is a plain gold band inscribed with the words from the Black Speech of Mordor that are made visible by heat. The words translate to one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them. With the ring, Sauron's powers increased. He could easily dominate Middle-earth. However, since Sauron had linked a significant part of his power to the ring, anything that happened to the ring would greatly affect him. Sauron ensured that the ring was indestructible, crafting it so that only the fires of Mount Doom could destroy it. Mount Doom lay in his stronghold. None could enter with ease. While wearing the Master Ring, Sauron could see everything done by the Lesser Rings, and he could control the thoughts of those who wore them. Sauron gained control over the elves who wore the 16 rings. After discovering this betrayal, the High Elves who wore the 3 elven rings immediately removed them. The war between the elves and Sauron in 1693 of the Second Age followed, as he forcefully tried to take all the Great Rings. Sauron got 16 of them after killing Celebrimbor and many elves. Sauron then destroyed Eregion, home of the elves. The One Ring was the success behind it all. The One Ring remains with Sauron despite 1 or 2 setbacks over 2,000 years. It is not until the War of the Last Alliance of Elves and Men in 3441 Second Age that Sauron loses the ring. Here, after the siege of Barad-dûr, Dark Fortress, Sauron finally joined the fight. He quickly makes mincemeat out of his enemies, all thanks to the One Ring. He then fights the Elf King Gil-galad and the Númenórean King Elendil. Both are very formidable enemies, and after a long, brutal fight, he kills both the Elf King Gil-galad and the Númenórean King Elendil, but also sustains grave wounds. Isildur, son of Elendil, then takes up his father's broken sword and attacks Sauron, who cannot defend himself. The One Ring is cut off together with his finger. His spirit leaves his body and flees to the east. They do not manage to destroy him because the One Ring is still intact. The One Ring enchants Isildur, causing him to refrain from destroying it. The ring ultimately leads Isildur to his death from a group of orcs. It earns the title Isildur's Bane. During this attack, the One Ring falls into the Gladen River and is lost for 2,000 years. The chief power of all the Rings of Power was to slow decay. One way they would achieve this was by slowing aging. They gave the wearer an abnormally long life. The One Ring was no exception. For example, hobbits are known to live up to 100 years. The ring's second possessor, Smeagol, a store hobbit, first encounters it on his 33rd birthday. He kills his own cousin over it without a second thought. He's ostracized by the other hobbits and makes his way to the Misty Mountains, where the ring corrupts him for 500 years, turning him into the creature Gollum. Bilbo, the ring's third possessor, is about 50 years old when he stumbles upon the ring lost by Gollum inside the Misty Mountains. He pretty much stops visibly aging for the next 60 years. And he only wore it a couple times. Frodo, also 33, having been given the ring willingly by Bilbo, keeps it hidden for the next 17 years. It gives him longevity, unlike his peers. The One Ring also increased the natural powers of the wearer. It enhanced the natural will of Sauron to dominate all of the peoples of Middle-earth. It gave Gollum the ability to hunt goblins and fish inside the Misty Mountains without using any weapons or tools. It gave Bilbo the impressive ability to sneak up on his dwarf friends during their travels. Rings made by Sauron, including the One Ring, also made the wearer invisible in the natural world. Gollum, Bilbo, and Frodo could all avoid enemies or annoying relatives at will by simply putting on the ring. The One Ring had an extra power that made it rule over the other rings. It was linked with Sauron's power. He channeled his thoughts to it, and it acted in a certain way with the power he put into it. The ring was part of Sauron, and began responding when he called to it in the events of the Lord of the Rings. Sauron's connection to the ring was special, but not the way we think. They weren't linked telepathically. Sauron cannot see the wearer of the ring unless under very specific circumstances. It was not until he captured Gollum that he was fully aware of the ring's whereabouts. He could see the effect of the Master Ring on Gollum. His connection to the ring grew stronger as time went forward, and as it neared his fortress at Barad-dûr. Sauron is, however, unable to sense Bilbo wearing the ring, mainly because Bilbo never used it for any evil purpose other than to hide from annoying relatives and unwanted guests. Bilbo was also nowhere near any magical enhancements, and was unconcerned with Sauron and his fortress in Mordor. Sauron easily detected Frodo in two instances. One at Amon Hen, the hill of the Eye of the Men of Numenor, when Frodo willingly searched out for Sauron. The other was at Mount Doom, where it was created. At Mount Doom, the One Ring overpowers Frodo's will to resist it. Frodo puts it on rather than destroying it. Sauron senses Frodo, the ring's presence, and the danger he's in. He hastily sends his Nazgul to Mount Doom. Gollum, who has been secretly planning to retake the ring, attacks Frodo. He bites off Frodo's finger and gets the ring. While dancing in celebration near the edge of the volcano, he slips and falls together with the ring into the fires of Mount Doom. The fires destroy the One Ring. Sauron is reduced to a mere spirit of malice, incapable of destroying Middle-earth ever again.